What's up, y'all? Back again today with a very special video. So today, I wanted to come to you with a potentially controversial topic, but as usual, I wanted to let you know that I come with the intention of righteousness, and I bring forth these topics to have a collective understanding for all of us. So this video I wanted to label Black Santa, White Jesus, and here's why. Recently, I was looking through the news and I saw an instance in where the Mall of America, which is one of the most predominant malls in America and one of the largest malls in America, has decided to hire an African-American man to portray the image of Santa Claus to take pictures with children during the month of December. As we know, many malls do this, and as we know, Santa Claus is a fictional, fake character. So, amidst finding this news, a number of patrons have decided to voice their opinion and petition to boycott the idea of having this African-American man portray this fictional fake character of Santa Claus. This is what I wanted to predominantly make my video about. Now, first thing we have to say is that Santa Claus, as we know it, as he's presented to us, is a fictional fake character. That's the first thing as rational adults we have to come to the conclusion of. Santa Claus is not real. So in order to be an adult, we have to say that we cannot make any arguments about something that we know is not real. We cannot make any arguments about the validity of something that we know is fabricated to begin with. With that being said, we also have to understand that Santa Claus, as he's presented to us, is merely the combination of different ideas of folklore from around the world, such as Saint Nicholas, which is a Greek saint, okay, or Father Christmas, which was a British folklore. These ideas were combined to present the idea and the package of Santa Claus as he's presented to us. So now I wanted to speak to you about the hypocrisy and the subtle racism of the people who speak against a person for being African American and portraying Santa Claus and boycotting that idea. But these same people further the misrepresentation of Jesus Christ. And let me explain that. I've made a video prior to where it was called What Color is God? And in that video, I went into a thorough explanation of the misrepresentation of Jesus Christ. Now, as we know, Jesus Christ, as he's presented to us, the only accurate description or the only description of Jesus Christ is found in the Bible. There's no any other historical documentations that provide any kind of description of Jesus Christ but in the Bible. And in the Bible it is described that Jesus Christ is brown. It says that his color is the color of bronze, and it says that his skin was the color of something that was left burnt in the furnace. So we know if we leave anything to burn in the furnace, at the very least it would be brown. So I'm not here to argue the idea of if Jesus Christ was black, although I could make that assumption. I am here to say that there is deep hypocrisy in the man or woman who, in one instance, boycotts the idea of a black Jesus, or excuse me, a black Santa because of its validity, but in the same breath perpetuates the misrepresentation and false portrayal of Jesus as a white man. So now here we have to understand why certain issues never get fixed, because the lack of inclusion and the lack of proper representation amongst black people is not only unbiased and unfair, but it leaves for a lack and for a desire for wanting, first, reparations, and secondly, more importantly, we need incentive to move forward. So as black people, if we never see a positive depiction for that represents us and that depicts us as a people, how can we move forward? How can we subconsciously, psychologically grasp the idea or come to agreement with the idea that we can be successful? So now, while this seems harmless that you don't want a black Santa, what that truly saying is that no one that is depicted as good and righteous can be black. Because again, the idea of Jesus Christ as he's presented to us, was a black man. So you cannot in one instance boycott the idea of Black Santa, but in the other instance say that Jesus was white, because we know that Jesus was not a Caucasian individual. Okay? So now this is the same people who also want to take the name Christ out of Christmas in general. And they've decided to replace it with Happy Holidays or Merry Xmas and completely X the name of Christ out. So the same person that does not want a Black Santa also wants a white Jesus. He also wants Christ out of Christmas. So it seems to me that this person has decided to make Christmas about what they want to make it about. It's not even about Christ anymore, and it's only about a white Santa Claus. So we have to understand the deep psychology of this. Furthermore, these are the same people who allow and produce movies such as The Gods of Egypt, where all of the predominant cast members of movies that are made and said to be of the pharaohs and the gods and all of the great men of African civilizations, they portray them as white men and women. So we've seen in Hollywood since the 70s where white men and women have portrayed African kings and queens in Hollywood and were given the green light. There was no boycotts from these same people who are boycotting Black Santa Claus. But see, I find it oddly interesting that these are the same people now that decide to say all lives matter. These are the same people that say they don't see race, they don't see color. Seems to me that you don't see color until a person of color is put into a righteous or positive place, in which case your subconscious mind will not allow you to grasp the idea that a black man or woman can be in a position of power without having had done something immoral to gain that position. See, the idea of white supremacy, which again is only an idea, is so psychologically detrimental that it actually gets into your subconscious before you even realize what's going on. So many of us, white people and black people included, cannot grasp the idea in their mind that a black man or woman can be successful, can be righteous, can be completely whole and holy. Because why? We are not given representation even when it's due. Even when we are the proprietors of said miracle, we are not given the accolades, and the history books are altered in order to portray someone else other than a black person as predominant. So when the children look up and they see Jesus Christ, although he was said to be a brown man, they do not see that. They don't see in the Passion of the Christ movie, they see him as a white man. And even if you portray him as a black man, the idea will be mocked and ridiculed, would it not? Is the idea of a black Jesus not dismissed as fallacy and pure imagination? Whereas in the Pope's office at the Vatican, we have white Jesus. And again, this isn't to say a white man is beneath or above. This is to say that the lack of representation for black people is a large factor in determining their psyche moving forward regarding their potential for success. I've said it before, every black predominant righteous man or woman we have had has been slandered with accusations, whether true or not. But in my personal opinion, this is done purposely. This is done so as when the children of the youth in the future look back onto the black man or woman, they are associated with a controversy that somehow seemingly diminishes their accolades. So again, this is why the idea of the boycott of the Black Santa is actually so deep, because it's fine, okay? If you don't want a Black Santa, that's fine. I could come to the conclusion that Saint Nicholas was most likely white and that the Father of Christmas was most likely white. Okay, we can come to that conclusion. You can have white Santa, but then by that same logic, sir or gentlewoman, you must admit that Jesus was a brown man. You must depict Jesus as a brown man. So it comes down to, what do you want? Do you want a Black Santa or do you want a Black Jesus? Because you have to have one. By the logic, there has to be one. And most accurately, Jesus was described as that black man. So we have to look forward at the hypocrisy of someone who can, in one instance, boycott Santa, the next image, promote the false representation of Jesus Christ, the next breath, promote the false representation of Caucasian people as African kings and queens in Hollywood productions, right? These are the same people, again, who in the next breath say all lives matter and that we don't see color. So these subtle things are what makes it to where you're not being righteous. You're not really coming to the conclusion that you know you should. The real truth of the matter is we should all be included, and we should have inclusion, especially in the instance where our own merits warrant such. Of course, I didn't want to take too much of your time, and I hope you understood the point that I was making in this. It's not so much about black or white. It's more so about inclusion. Thank you very much, and please, vibrate higher.